Good evening. This is
Hey
Tisha
everybody,
McDonald. This is Tisha,
this is
Alternatives Beauty Studio.
this is Tanika Gillard. I am naturally yours. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes, and I'm in the Poconos. So, Tanika, you know how we start. How was your day?
It was good, and I just want to wait and give the people some time to get on. If y'all are joining us live or catching the replay, this is Twinness with Tisha McDonald, Tanika Gillard, both licensed hairstylists. And so, she's up north and I'm in the south. But my day was good. I had a long day, but it was a good day. How about your day?
My day was great. It was a good day. It was a good day.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so my day was filled with, of course, school for the kids and then going to the shop and now joining you live. And then I think I'm gonna go home and do a little knitting. I gotta catch up on some projects.
I have projects too, Tanika. I have projects too, and I need to, it's been 2 days. So I'll do some work tonight, do some work tomorrow. Tomorrow is my son's 16th birthday.
16, wow.
Ah, he's in driver's
I-
ed.
oh wow, good, good,
So I
good.
see we have a viewer.
Okay. Hi, viewer. I don't know who it is, but welcome to the Twinness. It's Tisha McDonald and Tanika Gillard. We talk about everything from hair to life to children, everything that you want to discuss. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. And if you don't know who we are both licensed stylists, and she's up north, I'm in the south. And so we talk about the differences in the north and the south. So, what are we talking about tonight, T?
Tanika, wait, there you go. How you doing, Sharman? Tonight we're talking about locks. There's so many different, not only locks, but we're talking about different types of locks, different types of braids. I know we touched on this before, but that's a common question. Even this morning when I wasn't supposed to be at work today, but my client got the day mixed up. And since she traveled for almost like an hour to get to me, I said, let me just go ahead. But while she was sitting in my chair, she was asking a lot of different questions about the various locks, various braids. Do I do this? Do I do that? Fine. So let's talk about it. One of the major things that's coming up now is because everybody's wearing these distressed locks, and people want to know what are distressed locks. So you tell me what your definition of a distressed lock is, or
Well,
what's the other name for the distressed lock? The butterfly
butterfly
locks.
locks.
Yes.
hmm well, you could just look it up. Well, people today, they could just Google butterfly locks or distress locks, or they could YouTube it and see what it is. It's just you're using a curly type hair and wrapping it kind of like the old school, the way we used to do it with the original faux locks. But they just using the curly hair to make it look distressed.
I'm loving that you said the old school way because what was once old is now new again. So people think that these are new techniques, but these have been done back in the 90s, early 2000s. But the younger people are starting to catch on now and starting to change the names of what has already been done. So go ahead. I'm sorry. You getting ready to say
Oh,
something?
no, but I think that that's what the new generation is supposed to do. And
Yes.
then when they get older, the generation underneath them will do the same thing. They'll come up with their own name and all of that stuff because I'm sorry, I'm not switching from the locks, but when people ask me for the lemonade braids, I'm like, those are just cornrows or feed-in braids, I'm like,
That was the
okay,
next on my list, Tanika. That was the next on my list. You're getting ahead. You're
really?
getting ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to get ahead, but I have to take it all the way back because then they would say, back, I guess, early 90s, maybe early 2000s, they would say, I want the Alvin Iverson cornrows. Remember the basketball player who had the crazy braids? And so I would get that a lot. Can I get the Alvin Iverson? I'm like, okay, they just cornrows. So, you know, but it is what it is.
Tanika, I'm going to keep it with the locks for now. I'll go to my next in a moment. So, yes. Okay. So, let's keep talking about it. So, we got the distress slash butterfly locks done with the curly hair. back in the day, it was the goddess locks, and that was done more with the synthetic hair that you use for braiding. It gave you a more straight look. It wasn't curly and
Mhm.
distressed as what we see now, but before was the goddess locks, which was done the same way, but with the straight hair. You also
But
have, go ahead,
oh no, go ahead.
Jenny locks, which is done with yarn. So, I just want to break it down for the people because all of these locks, if they're not the real deal, then they're all faux. Because people want to, oh, you do the faux locks. Okay, which faux lock are you talking about? Because anything that's not growing from your head naturally is a faux lock. So I need to know which faux lock you want.
Okay, and I was going to also mention that you could use your kinky twist hair if you want a coarser texture look for your faux locks. You could use the coarse texture hair instead of your braiding hair, and that was an issue. Someone sent me a video in my message of a mother sent her daughter to get her faux locks done. She did the wrapping method, but the mother wasn't happy with the way it turned out at the end. They wasn't even. Remember with those, you had to burn it to seal it. So they was unraveling from the end, and she was just upset. The girl was charging her $200, and the mother's like, "I'm not paying for this. It's not even. It's not what I wanted." So again, like you said, you got to be specific as to what you want. Did you want the crochet faux locks? How you can just braid your hair and crochet the lock on top of it? Did you want what did you want? Because when the girl sent it to me, I said, that's the original way that faux locks were done. Granted, they were not even, and maybe some of the ends were coming loose, but she got what she asked for. She did get what she asked for. So, but you got to be specific as to what you want. Now, we don't do a lot of the yarn down here anymore. I always tell my clients, if you want yarn, do it in the winter because it's too hot. It's over 100 degrees in Alabama, and I would not wear a sweater on my head in the summer, and that's what the yarn is. It's too hot down here for that. And so you mentioned about the Jenny lock where you wrap the yarn around, and I do a lot of the braiding. What is that called? The new lock?
Yes.
I think that's what it's called, the new lock, when you just braid the yarn in the hair, and it still gives you the look of a lock. And the older they get, the better they look. That was in my feed today. The older they get, the better they look, the more natural they look. So the more you wash it, the more wear. Because even with our locks, I get told that all the time. It's supposed to be velvety. It's supposed to look like, it's supposed to look like yarn. But that's what I get told. It's
Well,
not supposed
I
to be.
really had the new lock. I had braided yarn in my hair originally before locking my hair. I wanted to get the feel for how it would be. And your mother, I couldn't wear color. So she was like, "There's no blue in this household." So that was the first thing I did. I put blue yarn in my hair first, and as you can see, I now have purple yarn in my
Rebel.
hair. So I've always tried to keep, because that's how I started. So I have the purple yarn. I have like 3 of them in there. But anyway, so to recap, but Tanika, no, I never burned the Jenny lock. I never burned the ends for that. And my ends didn't unravel.
The faux locks, Tisha, the faux locks with the braiding hair.
I'm talking about the nappy hair, the kinky hair.
No, the braiding hair. When you wrap it with the
With
braiding
the
hair.
braiding hair, with the braiding hair. I'm sorry, the connect line. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you have your different ones. So just to recap, the butterfly. This is Tisha McDonald's Alternatives Beauty Studio.
And Tanika Gillard, I am naturally yours.
To recap, the butterfly lock is nothing but a faux lock with curly hair. The what's the other one we were just mentioning? The one with the connect-a-line hair. The Jenny lock is just the faux lock with the connect-a-line hair straight wrapping. No distressed look at all, no curly look at all to it. The new lock is the braided with yarn look for locks. And I'm missing one. I mentioned
Just
one.
the original faux lock is with the
The
connector
original
on it.
faux lock with the kinky textured hair. That's what I
Hmm.
still use to this day. If someone wants to start locks with extensions, I still use that till this day. That's a staple
Okay.
for me.
We also need to, and we talked about this before. Hi, Rosalind. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes,
Your lock extensions, which is a big deal now, which is not new because they've been around for a while. But you also had it where you would order your human hair from California, I remember, and
yes.
you would hand make the lock extension and attach it on. So that's not a real lock. It's still considered to me a faux lock, but it's a lock extension. And also people even still, I know that you've done it to yourself, reattached your own locks, how you've cut them off and put them back on. So that is an advanced technique. I would consider it an advanced technique. Now, people, I want you to understand that when you're doing a faux lock, it's a lot of time in that, and time is money. So, depending on the size that you want, I personally don't do them anymore because they're too time consuming for me. I do the crochet ones that are easy and simple for me to do because I could braid you, do individual plaits, crochet it on, and keep it moving. But the individual faux locks, you have to be careful with those again. I know we talked about this, we recapping. Make sure that your hair is strong enough. They're not pulling on the follicles and pulling your hair out. We got to make sure of that for number one. And remember that it's time, it's going to be tension on your hair. And so the cost, depending on the size.
Okay. If you like what we're talking about tonight, please share. Um, so the next, oh, one more thing, and I'm getting off the locks. I did crochet faux lock yesterday, and she's testing it out to see if she would like her hair locks. But I had to explain because it's all about explanation. These faux locks, crocheted locks, are shiny. Locks are not meant to be shiny. So don't think that because you're wearing these faux locks that this is the way it's going to look. I have to explain because your hair is locks are not meant to be shiny. And so I think sometimes customers or clients they oh, how do you get them to be shiny? Well, they're not meant to be shiny. And with her texture hair, it's not going to be shiny anyway. So, you have to explain that as well to the client.
Right.
I'm
And
done.
that's why okay. And that's why people say that my hair is more like velvety yarn type, like a velvety texture, because it's not a shiny at all. And I think that sometimes if you're transitioning from whether you're coming from a relaxer or something where you use a lot of gel and products to being natural and you don't, because like right now I probably could use a little gel or something here. But when you come in from one texture and doing different processes to your hair that makes it slick and makes it smooth and makes it shiny, to now you going natural where you don't need all that extra. I think people have a hard time adjusting to that. So it is a transition for you as well as for your hair.
Okay.
It's like a psychological type thing.
All right. So let's go into that was it for that part of the locks as far as the faux locks. Now let's get into what's the difference between a mini lock and uh sister locks.
Okay, so I get questioned all the time, or oh, I like your sister locks. I do not have sister locks. I have micro mini locks, and they're just a little bit bigger. I always tell them that you can get three sister locks out of my one lock, although my locks are very thin. So, and with that, I always talk about the cost on that as well. You're going to pay for sister locks or brother locks for the men. You're going to pay for that because it takes more time and it depends on how many inches of hair that you're starting with that they're going to charge you. So there is a difference in the price and the way that you start. And I'm not a fan of braid locks, but I always like to start my locks with two-strand twists.
Okay, and the client that I had yesterday, she was asking about the difference, and that's why we're bringing it up today. Um, her hair is very thin, and she wanted to know about the sister locks. I said I don't do those, and plus you have to be certified to do sister locks. You can't even call them sister locks without being certified to do a sister lock. So fine. But she wanted, what kind of lock can I get where you don't see the parts? Well, your hair is thin. Any kind of lock you're going to have parts unless you're doing a freeform lock. So you're going to have parts. So I had to explain, even with the sister locks, there's a grid, and you make the parts so even, so small, and it takes hours to do. So I had to explain, even sister locks, even the smallest locks have parts. Moving
Yes.
on. So,
Also with the sister locks, it could take 2 days.
yes,
Sometimes people don't understand when you say the hours, and when you do the consultation and they quote you 600 and above, you got to think about the hours that they're spending on just one person. So they have to make their money off of the time that they're putting in. And also
yes,
with maintenance, the other thing is with maintenance, the cost for maintenance for sister locks. Sister locks is very, you got to be dedicated and have the money to maintain sister locks. And micro twists, they're maintenance, but it's not as rigorous as sister locks. Moving on.
moving on to the braids. So people get confused, and that's what we're here to inform. Um, Feed-in cornrows. Feed-in cornrows, same thing as the tribal braid, same thing as the lemonade braid, same thing as the Cherokee braid, same thing as the athletic braid, same thing as the Kardashian braid. These are all feed-in methods. And that's just simply, and I'll be teaching this at the Extensions Expo, October 18th to 19th. Um, but these all go into one. So it's just taking commercial hair and adding it to your natural hair. But the sizing is what makes it different. So you may have a tribal braid that you want very small, but you're feeding it in and you're keeping it one size. But you may want an athletic braid where it starts off small and gets wider as you continue to braid. So it's still a feed in, it's just what look are you trying to achieve with that feed-in braid? Lemonade braid is just the style going off to the side and very long cornrows. That's all it is.
Also, when you talk about feed-in braids, you want to mention feed-in box braids as well. And that's the same thing. You're just feeding in the hair as you do that box braid,
Or
so
what do they call that now? The knotless braid.
the
The
knotless
knotless braid is nothing but a feed-in braid, box braid. And I wanted to say, because I forgot to mention, the feed in, when you're doing a cornrow, you start with your natural hair and then you start adding in. And again, you can see this on YouTube and all of this, but we're coming from the professional stance. Some people on YouTube are professional, some are, not. So we just want to explain from the professional side of you, braiders. It starts with your natural hair, and then you start feeding in the extension to that. And that's why it's called the feed in, because you're adding little pieces of hair, or you may add bigger pieces depending on how thick you want the braid to be. That's considered a feed in braid.
Okay. What else you got?
Um, okay, the difference between a kinky twist, and this is it, the kinky twist and the passion twist, which we know the kinky twist is a kinkier type of hair, and the passion twist is a softer, springier type of hair, a curlier hair, if you will.
Okay, so kinky twist, you could use that same hair for Havana twists, which are huge twists, and they're usually long. So they're thick twists and they're long. So those are your Havana twists. You use the same hair as your kinky twist. With your passion twist, which is also your spring twist, which is also, what did you call it, T? Passion, spring, and there's another one. There's three terms that you can use interchangeably, and they're all the same thing. Passion twist, spring
Spring twist?
twist. I said spring twist, passion twist. They are the same, but it was
Hmm.
something on your list. What did you see? Look on your paper.
Nope, I had passion.
Okay, passion, spring, and it's another one. But it's three that's all the same thing. So, and that's just used with a curlier texture hair, like you said. So, all of your twists, then your Senegalese twists as well. You have your Senegalese twist that's done with braiding hair, and that's usually long. So, that's all I could think of on the twist side. Yeah.
Kanekalon hair. We got to be
Yeah,
clear. The Kanekalon hair. A
Kanekalon
Senegalese
hair.
twist.
Mm-hmm. So you have, but sometimes I do my Senegalese with
With the kinky.
with the kinky twist hair.
Yes, me too. Yes.
Depending on the texture of the client's hair, and it's more durable, I find,
I like the
when you
look
use.
of the kinky twist hair. I love the look of that. But then you have clients who wants the shine of the Kanekalon
Mhm.
hair. But I like
Yeah.
the natural look of the kinky twist hair for Senegalese twist.
Yes, but you could also blend it for the people that's watching. You could blend a little of the kinky with the braiding hair, because
Mhm.
if they want that smooth texture, but I still like that coarseness a little bit because it seems to hold the twist longer. So I like to add a little strip in there. That's just one of my secret tips to
Okay,
that.
this is Tisha McDonald, Alternatives Beauty Studio in the Poconos.
And this is Tanika Gillard. I am naturally yours. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, and it might be the Bohemian twist that I'm thinking of,
Oh,
the
okay.
Bohemian.
Okay.
And so that's the same with that curly texture hair.
Right.
So
The client did ask me about the Bohemian yesterday when she was getting her crochets in. She was like, "What is
yes,
the difference?" Mm-hmm.
you got your Bohemian twist and you have your Bohemian locks. So we
Mm-hmm.
forgot to add that in with the locks, and that's just when you have the little sprigs of the curly hair added throughout. So, um, like you said, everything is just, I think that we're just adding, being more creative with the braiding. I think that they're just adding more to it than what we have. Like before, we used to burn the ends. Now we just dip the ends and seal it, So, and the
Remember
quality
back
is
in the day,
certain.
they used to use nail glue to keep the
Nail
braids
glue
together.
and
Yeah,
aluminum
I saw
foil.
something on YouTube today. I was like, well, she's not a professional braider because she was using nail glue on the hair. I was like, wow, that was back in the day. Who does
Hmm.
that?
Well, and back in the day, well, down here in Alabama, they used a lot of pump it up.
Who
I
used
don't know
that?
if you,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't pump it up.
yeah,
Glue,
okay.
weaves. But so we have some books coming out. We have 6 books coming out, guys, and I am excited. We will have more details on that hopefully on Sunday. But one book is specifically to locks. One book is specifically to extensions. One book is exclusively to makeup. One is for skincare. One is for how to choose a salon. But we have 6 books coming out, and they are in the process. They're in the works right now. One is going to be a freebie for you guys, and we are excited about it. Again, I will be teaching the feed-in cornrows at Extensions Expo. That will be October 18th and 19th, and you can inbox me if you want a deal because the tickets are selling for 150, but I can get them cheaper for you if you give me a shout out in my Facebook Messenger or something.
And I'll be teaching all things crochet. So we'll be talking about if you have alopecia, how we're gonna get that grid down and cover that up. Like I talked about the crochet faux locks, how we can get that on your hair easily, and it looks very natural. So I'll be teaching the all things crochet October 18th and 19th. We'll have more times on of the event that we'll be teaching, but join the virtual experience. It's going to be wonderful. They have maybe 60 to 70 classes. So a lot of times people ask, how do we keep so knowledgeable on everything? And this will be a great way for you to learn, take a class on business, take a class on hair braiding, wig making. Everything you want is going to be at this expo October 18th and 19th.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you again on Sunday. If you have
Yes.
any questions, just shoot us a text message, and we will address it on Sunday as we do every time we start the show. Okay, again, this is Tisha McDonald, Alternatives Beauty Studio.
And I am naturallyyours.com to make your appointment, buy at my shop online, and inbox me if you have any questions.
And soon, again, another thing, Tanika, we didn't mention, but we could have probably saved it for Sunday. Soon we'll be doing demos for you guys. So Tanika might come to you with her technique on a mannequin, and I might come to you with a live person. So we're setting that up now. We have so many things going on behind the scenes, and we want to just say thank you for watching, and we will see you on Sunday.
Yes.